Hi there, today I'll be analysing modern rugby, Barbarians vs Springboks, focusing on tactics and emotion. Please subscribe to the channel.
In the modern world of rugby, where competitiveness, tactical science, and performance pressure increasingly dominate, stories around friendly matches like Barbarians vs Springboks still carry a very distinct character. From my personal perspective, based on Felipe Contepomi's insights, this is not just a sporting event, but a snapshot that clearly reflects the intersection of two worlds, one driven by elite competition, and the other by freedom, expression, and human connection through rugby. The first thing that stands out is how Contepomi views his role within the Barbarians setup. Being invited to join the Barbarians coaching staff is not just a title, but a symbolic honor. In rugby, the Barbarians are not a traditional national team, but rather a collection of outstanding individuals from different cultures. So when a coach like Contepomi calls it a great honor, it reflects a value that goes beyond results, the value of trust and a prestigious invitation. In that context, the presence of names like Scott Robertson, Patrice Collazo, and Lynn in the same coaching group highlights the multi-centered nature of the Barbarians. This is not a team built to follow a fixed tactical system, but an environment where different coaching philosophies coexist, clash, and complement each other. That's something very rare in modern professional rugby. When Contepomi talks about facing Rassie Erasmus, the conversation shifts to another level. Erasmus is not just a coach, but a symbol of a high-performance rugby system, where the Springboks have redefined how the world views strength, discipline, and tactical efficiency. Contepomi's acknowledgement that the Springboks are the best team in the world is not just praise, but an acceptance of reality regarding their current status. However, what matters more is his attitude, not fear, but ambition. In elite sport, there are only two ways to test yourself: either avoid the strongest opponents, or actively seek them out. Contepomi chooses the second option, and that reveals a very clear mindset. Growth only happens when you face the biggest challenges. More broadly, the match between the Barbarians and the Springboks is not just a friendly. It is a dialogue between two rugby philosophies. On one side, the Barbarians represent creativity, spontaneity, and connection. On the other, the Springboks embody structure, discipline, physical dominance, and highly optimized tactical systems. It is this contrast that gives the match its unique value. It is not simply about who wins, but about which philosophy performs better on the day. And in sport, that answer is never fixed. Another important aspect of Contepomi's reflections is rugby's role as a cultural bridge. When he speaks about friendship and meeting people from different countries, it becomes clear that rugby is not just a contact sport, but also a social space. Within the Barbarians, players and coaches don't only come to compete, but also to share life experiences, cultures, and perspectives. This is particularly meaningful in today's era, where professional sport can sometimes be pulled into commercial pressures and performance obsession. The Barbarians, in their way of operating, feel like a reminder that sport can still retain its human side. Looking at recent history, the Springboks' dominant 54-7 win over the Barbarians in Cape Town in 2025 was not just a result, but a lesson in the difference between free-flowing play and system-driven rugby. It raises the question, can spontaneity sustainably compete against a highly optimized system? Contepomi seems to understand this well when he suggests treating the match like a test match as the best preparation.
From my point of view, the most valuable part of this story is not the tactics or the scoreline, but the mindset of the people involved. Contepomi does not romanticize the Barbarians. He acknowledges the challenge, acknowledges past defeats, and focuses on improvement. This is a very grounded approach, respecting tradition without idealizing it. For rugby fans, this story delivers an important lesson: learn to appreciate both sides of the game. On one hand, the intensity of teams like the Springboks, where every detail is calculated. On the other, the free-spirited nature of the Barbarians, where rugby becomes a shared language across cultures. For a wider audience, the lesson goes even deeper. It shows that in any field, not just sport, sustainable progress comes from balancing structure and freedom. Too much discipline can kill creativity. Too much freedom can reduce effectiveness. And environments like the Barbarians exist to remind us that these two forces don't have to oppose each other, but can actually complement one another. Ultimately, from Felipe Contepomi's story, one thing becomes very clear: the greatest value in sport is not just becoming the best, but daring to face the best. Only then are individual and collective limits truly expanded. For the Springboks, this match is part of maintaining their elite status. For the Barbarians, it is a chance to show that the spirit of freedom still has a place in modern rugby. And for fans, It is a reminder that the beauty of sport is not always in the scoreboard, but in how people meet on the field. Looking further ahead, matches like this will always be necessary. They don't just create games, they create dialogue. They don't just produce winners, they produce understanding. And in an increasingly divided world, these kinds of sporting dialogues are more important than ever.
Thank you for watching this analysis of Barbarians vs Springboks Rugby. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to support the channel.